everyone. I'm just gonna do a double check real quick just to make sure that I'm getting sound. So bear with me as I check that. I'm gonna grab this and just be sure that I can be heard on the channel. Because I have done a couple videos and I go back and I listen and there's no sound. It's kind of crazy. Let me get there and see what I can find. Make sure that you guys can hear me. So if you're wondering what's printing today, as I go to look for this, what's printing today is I'm printing what I'm calling the Beast. At my work, I had someone come to me and say, hey, I know that you're like the 3D printing person. I was wondering if you could possibly 3D print this Beast. And I was like, well, I don't know. Let me try. So I brought it home, I put it in to the system, and I started working on it, and I have a Beast that I'm printing. And I ran a prototype, and so I've got it printing now. And then the next thing I'm going to print after this is going to be the dragon that I've been working on quite a bit. So I've got a couple of really long prints. I had hoped to get a color printer, but that didn't work out. But I'm still gonna think I'm gonna purchase a 12 color printer. I think that's coming up soon. But let me get over here and see if I can hear myself. Printer, I think that's coming up soon. Perfect. Let me get over here. All right. So let me talk about why I'm here today. So I wanted to make sure that I review a company called STLFlix. And I have reviewed them before, but I wanted to review them again because they've had some things come out recently that I want to share. For me, the way that I want to talk about STLFlix is I find them to be one of the best places for my STL files or my 3D printed files. The creators here really put the work into giving us quality products. Whenever I print from STLFlix, I have no concerns that my print's going to come out flawlessly. I can pretty much put it on the printer and walk away. And as long as my printer is working well, which my Preset Excel almost every single time is working well, I have no concerns that I'm going to get a good print. Now, if you are a 3D printer, you probably know that as you print your prints, a lot of times there are files that are just not the best of files. They don't have enough space for bed adhesion, or they have holes in them, or they just don't print well. But I don't have that problems with the STLFlix. I also like the fact that they come out 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, with new prints. And those prints are generally themed, so it's not just like one single print. And as I'm talking, you can kind of see some of the drop sets that have come through recently. Those are like full sets that all have a common theme. And that happens on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So that is pretty nice that I don't just get one or two prints a month. I get a full set Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and 3 times a week for a full month. So it's definitely worth the price of it. It is again one of my favorites. And another thing that I really like about it is that when you do look at the prints, so I'm going to go into one now, they give you all of the information you need to do that print. So they tell you, hey, this is an FDM printer. I would recommend that you print it with this layer height, this particular wall setting, follow the directions. And it comes out perfect. I just recently printed this educational volcano that kind of is for young children, and it goes over like what does the inside of a volcano look like. It was a really cool piece. I printed it. It's flawless. It looks like it came from one of the bigger toy companies. It is just so good. So I really like them, and I like the pieces that they do. And since I also do designing myself, I kind of know some good pieces when I see them, and their pieces are just, their designers really put the time and effort into it. Another thing that I like about them is that when you do purchase their program, that if you do get the commercial side, underneath the downloaded files, you get all of the media to go along with it. Now, I am not a commercial seller. I have no affiliation with STLFlix except that I'm a customer. So the only thing that I am saying about STLFlix comes from my honest opinion of them and what I think of them as a consumer of their product that I pay for. So that is where I come from. Now, do I have a commercial license? No, I do not. Do I sell? Not really. I mostly do gifts and trading, and I just kind of like pass on the kindness, and I'll say, give me 20 bucks or 5 bucks or 10 bucks, or it really just depends on how much filament I use. But I do get my money's worth because what I do with STLFlix is I print a lot of gifts or a lot of things to give away. And there are so many cute things on here. I feel like to me it's worth my while. So for the volcanoes, I printed those for some family members, and I plan to give those away as gifts. I printed 2 sets. The time on there was listed, like how long it will take to print it. They also put that on there as well. And so I kind of knew this is how long it's going to take me, and this is where it's going to be. So I printed those, and it was really nice, and they came out just looking great. But if you are a commercial user, you would get all of the media that you would need to sell. And it's really good quality media as well. So they have a video, they have a couple of pictures that are professionally done, as well as you get instructions that you can also print down. They print off. They have just a bunch of different things that you can use. A user manual, some social media stuff if you want to post via social media. They really help you, if you are a commercial seller, to sell your stuff. One of the things I also have in my license, which is a commercial license, is I have the store, which allows you to take your pieces and post them inside of the store, which is your store, and you pick the pieces that you want to post. You set the price. It's just really a neat product. And one of these days I'm going to get in there and kind of show it off if I haven't already, because I got to go back and review my files since I've missed some voice on some of them. But I think it's a really neat product, and I think for the price that you pay for it, it is just a steal. As I said earlier, I do some Patreons, and my Patreons, I might get 1 file a week. Some of them I might get 2, but most of them I'll get like 1 item. Some of them will do a set as well, but a lot of them are not as in-depth as the STLFlix, but I still like them. One of my favorite creators, which I will mention, is Key Creations. I have printed a lot of that designer's pieces just because I really like what she does. And so I just wanted to throw a shout out to her on here for anybody who watches this and is looking for some really cool prints. But let me show you what I wanted to show you today. So when I was telling you that they give you these sets 3 times a week, they do, they call them drops, and they give them names. So like this particular set that came out Friday is called Fair and Square. And I think that they are trying to create, with this particular Fair and Square shelf display, I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to create some marketable products for people who sell 3D prints. Now, this isn't their first set like this, and I think that this comes from their community ideas, because one of the things that STLFlix does as well is that as a consumer, you can go in here and vote for what would you like to see next. So as a user, you would go in here and vote, oh, I want some fidget and clickers, or oh, you can put in your own ideas, or you can vote on ideas that other people have put. Now, the great thing is that when you, at the end of the month, they put things that people have voted. So this was last month's vote, or the winners for last month's votes. And what they'll do is here in a day or two, within the week, since it's early in the month, they will say, oh, we're gonna work on this week. We'll do it during this time. So then you'll be able to see when these items are coming up. So the community voted for, can you make some educational games? Can you make some more book nooks and reading accessories and some dice towers? So that is how some of the drops are developed. I think they go in and look at some of the other ones too, because I've seen some pieces that other people have suggested that have been in here. So let's talk about this week's drops. This week's drops was the Fair and Share. This came out on Friday. And I know that you can get a lot of prints on Printables or Maker World or on some of the other 3D printing sites, and you can get them for free. But I really like that I can trust these prints, and I have tried to print off of the sites, and sometimes they turn out good and sometimes they don't. And you really take a risk when you do that. And I don't feel like that about these files. I like how they're all in sets, and for me it just works. Gifts, usable items, things that work. It's not just little things that sit on your desk or decorative items. It's things that you can use. So Friday they did this vendor fair or exhibit fair, and each of these have different parts. They did another set, which I can probably show you, that goes along with it. Now, one of the things about the STLFlix is that you can't always tell all that you're going to get by the pictures, because I am always so surprised to go in here and see that the items are generally much more than what I expected when I look at them. So like this particular one, I can see that there's drawers and there's a keychain holder, but there's all of these different pieces. And until you actually go in, sometimes you don't even know what the prints actually do. But I am looking forward to this one here. I am going to maybe do a vendor fair. I'm a member of one of the things that talk about one of the groups, the Facebook groups that talk about vendor fairs. They A lot of people get on there and talk about what the local groups are. If you are interested in selling and you have bought a 3D printer, I think that that's a really good place to get started, because there's a lot of people on the vendor group. So if you are a Facebook user, that would be a good place to get on there and find maybe some local places that you could do some commercial selling if you did have commercial licenses to the files. And those are posted there. I saw a lady posting um, last week, I think it was. She was saying that she needed someone to go in half with her, and I said, hey, I might be interested in doing one of those with you at some point. I probably wouldn't really go to make much of a profit. I just think it would be fun to do, but I know that there's a lot of people who buy 3D printers and really have a lot of skill, and they could probably go out there and do that. So if you get the commercial license and that's something that you're interested in, here's some neat ways to display your products, as well as, hey, that's a suggestion on some place that you could go if you don't know where can I start to sell my products. I think um, young people who get their 3D printers and want to try to make a go at it, I say go for it. Let's make some good products. So here is the item that came out on Wednesday. Now I did a video about this, but my sound was missing, unfortunately. But this to me is, I've been wanting this for a little bit. I have some family members that are younger that I would like to make a dollhouse for them. And so I think that this is incredible. There's so many little pieces to each room set. And to me, the great thing about this is just one day of the month out of the, if you have 4 weeks out of the 12 sets that you would get. And look at all of these products that are included. And I am just excited about it because I am a big advocate of color. When you are buying your filament for your 3D printing design or craft, there's so many varieties nowadays. I am a huge fan of Sunlu because they sell their filament pretty cheap, which is nice that people can get filament at an affordable price, and it prints pretty good. Now, if I had to name my favorite by printability, that would be Polymaker and Elegoo. When I print with Polymaker filament, I just find it to be the best quality product that I have seen out there. Now, I do like Elegoo. I bought a set of Elegoo PLA that was pretty nice, and I feel like that has printed great since I bought it. So with this particular set, with saying all of that about the filaments that you could buy, there are also all kinds of materials of filament that you could buy. But probably for something as simple as this, you may just go with PLA, but if it's something you're planning on washing, you may want to switch to a different type of filament. But PLA is relatively cheap, and I think that with these particular items that STLFlix has made, that you could change the color up and really make this your own little pieces. So I think that if you have a child, boy or girl, that likes green or blue, or they're a red fan, or maybe they like rainbow, you could probably decorate this. You could make like close to their room and add some curtains and just really fix this up really cute. And color just changes things so much when you print, and there's so many kinds of filament. There's shiny and silky and matte and flat and dual color and tricolor and dual extrusion, where it prints one color on one side and one on the other, and just every color of the rainbow and beyond. It is so great how far filament has come. And you have translucence, and you have, I was looking at this mirror here and I saw a piece that I saw some paint that you could use that has a mirror finish. So not only could you print these on a single color printer and just print the pieces, but you could do it in multicolor if you have a multicolor printer, but you could also hand paint these and just print them all the same color. I recently purchased a, well, maybe not recently, depends on what you consider recently, but I purchased some markers that were paint markers. They were acrylic markers that I saw on another site, and so I went ahead and purchased them. I clicked their link and I got them, and they're really nice for painting on my 3D prints. And so my 3D printer prints pretty well, and depending on how small the item is and how much I'm concerned about layer lines, if I can just use those markers to color things in. And it really just depends on the print, but they work very nicely. And if you're really worried about your layer lines, you can fill that in now. There's lots of videos that are out online. But I think these items here are so small that you could print them in a finer a finer layer height, as well as you could use ironing to make the outside smoother, and they would just be amazing. So I definitely wanted to show this off because one of the suggestions that I had offered in the community ideas, which I don't know how many yeses I got, but I said I wanted to have a modular dollhouse type of product so that I could print off some dollhouse items and give those away as gifts. And I think this just meets that mark perfectly. I can't wait to see if they're able to stack upon one another or not, but for me, these are cute. For me, a commercial person as well, I think that they could sell these in sets, and what a cute little set they would be. Let's go back to, so that was Wednesday's set. Now, when I first saw this set from Monday, and by the weekend, I'm usually ready for what's going to come out on the following Monday. I get pretty excited about it. And when this came out on Monday, I thought, oh man, here's just some more, um, fidget clickers. And I don't know, I'm not so, but then I went in and looked at them, and it's one of those things I was telling you earlier. When you go in and look at them, you're going to see that they're so much cuter when you actually go into the drop than what I thought. These are little belly rubber things that you can rub their belly, and their eyeballs move as you rub their belly. Before I went in here, I was like, I'm not going to print those. I've got so many little creatures and things that I have a list a mile long that anybody who has a 3D printer probably, or a person that does 3D prints, probably have a whole list of items that you want to print. At least I know I do. I have just a bunch that the printer, I never can get enough print time. Well, I can't say I don't get enough print time, but I just always have something going. And so there's so many things I still want to print. But I definitely want to print some of these because these are adorable. And for little gifts for friends and families, little keychains, I think these would be great. And I did not know that until I went in, but I think they're adorable. And I think that I most certainly would be happy to print these. I was wondering, I saw an advertisement where STLFlix did the prints, and they had like a whole sheet of these. So I wanted to go in and take a look and see, now how did they make this work? So they did. Sometimes they have like extra little pieces that you need for items, like if they're keychains or they need ball bearings, and they tell you, but I'm not really sure what this is. But here you can see the print time. So they have a 1 hour and 35 minutes if you're printing just one color. For the multicolor, it's 9 hours. And printing time is based on a Bamboo P1 printer, according to our test. And they tell you that you need a painted brim, and they give you all the details. Now, here's something that I notice about timing. So, multicolor printing is great, but you can definitely see the increase in time here from 1 hour and 35 minutes to 9 hours. I am printing currently, which I took a pause from that. Right now it's still on the printer, it's still running, and I'm going to switch back to that after this one. But when you do multicolor prints, it really does increase the time. So if you're somebody that's here to find out, does STLFlix work? I'm new to 3D printing. I just want to know, are they really worth it? Or you're not really sure. This is just a piece of information. Multicolor prints take a long time. But I can say that would I give up multicolor printing? No, but that definitely means that my printer is going to be taken up during that time. So this beast print that I'm doing right now is 1 hour or 1 day and 17 hours. So it's almost 2 full days that my printer is going to be running just on one print. I have the dragon head print, I think is also going to be a 2 day print. I have another color one that I have been waiting to do because I was hoping to get a 8 color printer, and I'm still probably going to do that. But that print, because I have to switch out the colors even on my 5 color printer, was just going to be an incredibly long print, and one that I need to dedicate myself to because I have to be there to switch out the colors when I need to switch them out. But I have used monocolor printing. I have an Anycubic Cobra S1 that I have done part printing, which is where you just print the parts and then you glue them together. I'm a fan of that. I think that that is really great too. The only thing that you have to do with that is that sometimes you have to do that in multiple sets. The great thing about the Cobra S1 is that I can print the 4 colors on there, and then I can print the one set in the color that I want, and then just keep switching them out, and that's pretty nice to do that. But would I give up multicolor printing? Absolutely not. I think it is great, and I like it, and I like the monocolor too, and I just like having the variety, and it's just so fun to do it all. But these are super cute. And as I said here, they could have used 4 colors, but it's just a cute, cute print. And I'm looking forward to printing it. So let's go back to the drops again. So that was this week's drops. And those were pretty great. I'm pretty excited about those. Got to get time on the printer to put those on there. And again, when I say put time on the printer, I mean I just gotta, I don't know. The printer's always running and always busy. So, but last week they had these dice towers, and I did a video on this, but again, my voice was missing off of it. But I think these have a lot of potential because, as I was saying earlier, color is can change so much. I do like the colors that they've used here. I do like silky colors in some of the prints, but I like it when you use multicolor. I also like it when you use matte finishes. There are so many pieces, so many things that you can just do with 3D printing with color. It's just quite amazing. Like when I think of this owl over here, Polymaker has some beautiful colors. They have a color called Tornado, and that's kind of a black, white switches, changes. I could see that being beautiful on those wings. There are some colors that they're called gradient, so as they print, they change color. And there are some that as you print them, the gradient changes quicker than it would if you had printed it with a longer time for a gradient to change. And a lot of the filament companies, they'll tell you on there this is a fast changing, or other people have done research possibly on the filament. You can find out, oh, this changes color, ever so much length. And sometimes it's super fast, and sometimes it's a bit of a distance in between. And I think that you could find a beautiful gradient color for that owl and add some brown on, add some wood filament on that tree trunk, and that particular print could be so beautiful. You could really put some nice artwork into that and some white. But I think the same thing could be done with this tree trunk here. I think you could really bring out this skull here in the tree. I think the dragons, you could use filament as the baseline and then you could paint it, or you could use your filament coloring to change out the 2 different dragons. There's just so many possibilities, and this craft is amazing. And it's so wonderful how many things that it allows you to do, because not only can you create works of art, but you can also create very structurally sound pieces that you can use. Now these look like these, I saw these and I thought, oh, these are just little tiny little, hand pieces, but they're not. They do say lights and they are bigger lights. So these are little desk lamps. These would be so cute in a baby's room for a present. And I think that the price of STLFlix is so worth the money, even if you're not if you are a commercial seller, most certainly these are great pieces. You could definitely sell these and make what you are being charged for STLFlix back with no problem. And that's one of the biggest advantages of STLFlix as far as the commercial license, because the free prints that you can do online, they're great if you're just a personal user, but not everybody has a 3D printer. Not everybody wants to mess with a 3D printer, but there are people who just like 3D prints. And there are some prints that are very decorative. There are some pieces that are very functional. So there's just all kinds of things that can be created with 3D printers, but it's not for everyone. Not everyone wants to mess with that, but they will pay the price to buy them. And so I think there's two sides to this here. I think as a commercial user, you could create these and sell these with no problem. These look like they would be great baby room items or a young children's item or even your own. I mean, they're cute enough to sit in your own area just to be a cute little piece. But I think as a commercial user, you could sell these as well. I think you could make them, sell them on Etsy, sell them in so many different places. And if you're a commercial user, you would get the pictures and the video. But for a personal user, I think these would make great gifts. And if you're paying the money for the personal side of it, I think, in my opinion, that you definitely get your money back, because just gifts nowadays are so expensive. If you go to baby showers or if you go to just birthday parties or, just different things that you go to, or you're a grandparent who is, getting stuff, helping your son or daughter get things for their child, or you're a parent that is getting decorations for your own child. These kinds of things right here, just this one item, if you were to purchase this at a store, would be 20 bucks probably. And these lights are adorable, and I think that you could definitely make your money back just by making the items yourself. And with this, you could usually, once people get into 3D printing, they start wanting to develop things themselves. So I think that that would be a really great thing to do, is to make these as gifts. So at first when I saw them, I thought they were just some little, um, little decorative, but now I see that they're lights, and I think that they, again, are cute. And a lot of these things, again, until you get in here and click on them, you really just don't know what they are going to turn out to be. So they had this chess game. This chess game has checkers and chess. And the cute thing about this is a little wristlet that you can fold up and take with you. I think that that's adorable as well. I think, again, color could really liven this up, and you can see that they did a couple different prints. I have seen a couple of people sell their 3D prints that have like cases that you can carry them in. When I first got this printer, there was a football one that I printed for a person at work, and it was pretty cute. It was all self-contained. That was pretty nifty. So this was last week's. And then the week before that, they had some dragons. There's a bunch of them in here. These were little sip toppers, which I didn't even know people use these, but I did see a lady at my work who had one on the top of hers. And then there was another creator that I'm in their Patreon that I saw this. I was like, oh my goodness, look, this. I've seen these before, but these are um, toppers for your straws to keep. And they have so many little cute ones and they just clip on. Look at this little bamboo one. I think that's adorable. You just clip it on your cup. I think the little cat with the little tail and all the little details of the little mouse piece that goes with it, and the little paws. Isn't that adorable? And the octopus has all the. I mean, these are just so cute. They just really just. Oh man, they just put their work in. I just. So here is. Pardon me. So here is a another one of those displays for our commercial users or people who are just selling items. This is fair and square. And up here you can see this one's called fair and square as well. This is a shelf display. And this one is the modular display. And this one has turned out really cute too. I've done a piece on this here. This is some more items to add to it. And I think you could colorize these as well. Really just, really fix it up to look nice. I don't remember. So I was talking about this the other day. These are post-it note holders for desk. I think these are adorable. They have pins in them that you can make. Of course, STLFlix tells you where to get the pin insert. And I know that there are a lot of places that have pin inserts, so I thought this would really be cute on a desk. Like, I like this one a lot, and I think this one would be good that if if you come in on a Monday morning or whatever day you go in, you just set it off to the side, set the pin portion off to the side and then have your post-it notes open. I know my old boss used to like post-it notes quite a bit and he always had them all over his desk and I always used to think I'm going to print him a 3D printable post-it note holder. Not quite as elaborate as this is not what I was thinking back then. I was thinking something more with like his name on it, but I think this would be really cute to just give to somebody the post-it note users out there. Let's go back to the drops. So I'm just going to do a quick go through here. I know this particular set right here, this rest and nest, I know I've talked about it before, but they have several of these. So there are several pieces that go to this particular set. Sometimes they will come out with items that are in multiple sets, just like the fair and square, that go together. One of the recommendations that I made for community ideas were to make little books that contain like pieces for like storybooks, like Alice in Wonderland or Little Red Riding Hood. Of course, books that they could use without violating any kind of laws or um, that have an open license now. So I think that those would be really cute. Or like, how about like the Three Little Pigs? Put it in a little storybook that opens up to the Three Little Pigs and the story, and you could have a little brick house and a little, if they could build and maybe put two colors on each side of the wall. But that would be a really cute little item that you could do a series of. You could do, one time you could do a whole piece on the Three Little Pigs, and then the next series could be like Goldilocks, or just some common stories that a lot of people learn and know. I think that would be really interesting to do. These were some Valentine items. These are really cute. These are like little pieces that fit together. They're like the halves of both sides. Now, think about this. If you are cat lovers, you could colorize these cats, paint them in your slicer to be whatever color cats that you either um, feel like it's a part of who you are. Like maybe you're a black cat person or a calico person, or maybe you want it to look like your cat that you have at home. And you could do the same thing with the dogs or the dragons. Now I like dragons quite a bit, so I probably would be more drawn to these dragon necklaces, but I think these are very cute because I've seen so many different pieces throughout time that are like halves of the puzzles, little best friends or whatever, but I think this is based on the Valentine theme. I think you could really colorize these. You could make them bigger or smaller, or make them keychains. They wouldn't necessarily have to be a necklace. What a cute little present that you could give away. I know a lot of people see 3D prints and they're decorative and they're toys, but there are, in the STLFlix, there are some functional ones. And I think I talked about this before. This was like an auto care one where you could print some pieces to for your car, things like cup holders, trash bag holders, those types of things. So those are very utilitarian because I think I see that a lot. Hey, now that I've got my 3D printer and I've gotten over the part of printing just novelty items, what do you have that's functional? Well, they've got some lights here. This is a light set called sphere lights where you can print lights for your house. This is some car auto pieces. They have lots and lots of functional pieces. This is some hanging frames that you can hang by your back door to front door or wherever you may want to hang, in a little kids area, or even your own area by you at work. If you have something that you could hang, that you're able to hang this up, you could use this. And I know this shows green right now, but you could change the color of that. And so like in this set are a bunch of different things that attach to this that are just different kind of shelving items and hook items. They also have these bathroom sets, and the color um, just kind of demonstrates what the different patterns are. And these have all kinds of different patterns on them. They have scales, like dragon scales. They have a weave. They have lots and lots of different patterns on them. So, and they have different things that come in the different sets. You can see here by this picture, they have earring holders and just lots of things that you can print. Over here is like some bookshelf pieces. These are some phone holders. I'm just looking at things that have utilitarian purposes. So here are some things that you could put on your desk. This says cabinet organizer. So this would be great for your drawer to kind of get things put in there and organized. I probably need to print me up some of these for my work. My drawers at work, I've got all these little pieces that I need for like just little things. I probably need to print me up some drawer pieces. I'll probably measure that. They've got some purses here. It's so wild that you can 3D print purses. Here's some more Functional pieces make it work. They're really good about that. They have a table here. There's some stools. There's some lights. There's book holders. There's bag holders. Here's some things for the couch. Gadgets. Gadgets for the couch. These are sidearm pieces. Isn't that just so cool? That they like. Let me just open this up. I just want to kind of show. This is a piece that you put over the side of your couch that will hold your items for you. For me, incredible. And since I know that my STLFlix prints are good, I don't have to worry, is this going to work? Because I know 99.9% their prints are going to work, and that's important. So if they show this the way that it is, I have not been disappointed yet. Not a single time have I been disappointed in STLFlix with something that I've printed. Every single time it's met my expectation, and generally it exceeds it. So the reason I'm doing all of this talk about them is because when I go online and I see them, I'm like, I'm so glad I got them. But then I do see some people say, oh, they gotta be a scam. They're not. They're really not a scam. I see some people say, oh, you got free prints. Hey, if that's for you, that's for you. But for me, I like being able to trust it, and I like it when they come out with their items, 3 times a week. Here's some necklaces. These are cute. Well, I think that's all I'm going to talk about today for STLFlix. But I really just wanted to put this out there because I find enjoyment from them, and I think that anytime that you find something that you like and that you find to be a good product, you should share those things. Share the wealth of information. They're not a very big company, so I think they have really good prints, and I think that they deserve being talked about in a positive way. So that's my personal opinion. Again, they have not asked me to do this. They don't even know that I'm doing this. They have no affiliation with me, but other than I am their consumer. And so if you do see this, thank you so much for watching, and I hope that you get something out of this. And if it helps you become an STLFlix consumer, hey, welcome to the STLFlix crew. Let me know what you think. If you do decide to join and you get involved with them, let me know. Send me a chat. I'd like to see if anybody comes through to them, and if you have some prints that you like, I'd like to see those. Once again, thank you so much, and I hope you have a wonderful day or evening or whatever time it is where you are. Thanks.